After 7 days during which last Sunday's James HaskellJoe Marler shenanigans attracted plenty of the wrong sort of headlines, a story centered on Nathan Hughes has emerged from this week's Wasps action to deliver the perfect antidote. Thankfully, the kerfuffle which initially surrounded last week's unsavory Ricoh Arena incident had died a natural death anyway. But if we needed a reminder that rugby union's traditional values of respect for opponents and the referee still largely hold good regardless of the stakes, involved a first-half incident at Sandy Park, delivered it in spades. The 24th minute collison between Wasps England No.8 Hughes and his opposite number Sam Simmonds initially appeared pretty run-of-the-mill as the visitors recycled possession and play continued. Exeter Chiefs v Wasps. It's very early, and for other learnings however, Simmonds and Hughes were left on the ground, and it quickly became apparent that the home player was badly concussed and probably unconscious. Clearly no one would have wished the injury on Exeter's promising back rower, but the Fijian-born star's instinctive response spoke volumes about Nathan Hughes the man, while also upholding the sport's best traditional values. Hughes immediately realized that Simmonds was struggling after getting his head in the wrong place and taking a heavy blow while making the tackle, and remained with his stricken opponent. While attempting to attract referee J.P. Doyle's attention, he then quickly ensured that Simmonds' airway was clear and supported his neck and head until the medics arrived a few seconds later. And the fact that this happened as Wasps, who were trailing at the time, developed a promising attack, which Doyle immediately brought to a halt once he became aware of Simmonds' plight, makes Hughes' actions all the more laudable. Exeter's players were quick to acknowledge their opponent's gesture, which several went over to acknowledge. The Chiefs rugby director Rob Baxter also made a point of thanking the big No.8 during his intra-match BT Sport interview, while Simmonds, who is now fine, and a number of other Chiefs have responded gratefully on social media since the final whistle. This is all in stark contrast to last week's events, from which neither player, the match officials, and even a couple of respected pundits had emerged with credit. Harlequins prop Marler has been exposed as a wind-up merchant whose behavior did nothing to help rebuild an image that has only recently started to recover from a series of on-field misdemeanors. And Haskell also won few plaudits for his over-the-top response and the aggressive tone which he adopted with the referee. The fact that only the black-angeled back rower spent 10 minutes kicking his heels on the sidelines reflected badly on inexperienced referee Andrew Jackson, plus his touch judge who left the scene of the crime much too soon, and the TMO who failed to offer the full picture. Even respected pundit Ugo Moni came out of the affair badly, after shouting down BBC Rugby presenter Chris Jones during their weekly podcast with an overly assertive defense of his former Quins teammate. While this pales into insignificance compared to some of the violence which disfigured rugby in years gone by, it was all a bit unsavory, even if it did end in an amicable post-match man-hug between the protagonists. So the timing of this week's mid-match chivalry could hardly have been better, while the fact that it was an entirely instinctive gesture, which Hughes appears to have shrugged off as nothing out of the ordinary, clearly marks him out as exactly the kind of role model the sport needs.